Yeah, so for the ones that don't know me, my name is Jan Buch. I'm working in the business development for the Laboperator product from the Labforward company. I'm not actually a tech person, so yeah, I don't know the technical details of the SiLA implementation on our end, but rather want to take a look here on the end of this meeting, also a little bit on the business perspective and what we actually see as an integrator that is really dealing with a lot of device integration, and we're also trying to push the SiLA the SiLA standard really into the industry. And yeah, I'm trying to give a few insights on what we are working and what we are experiencing every day. I think what's also part of my presentation will be a little bit on taking the different perspectives. We have like integrators in here, we have end users like laboratories and the companies that are really using our products. And then also we have device manufacturers within this call here. Jason, thank you for the introduction already in your presentation. And I'm trying to, yeah, have a look at this different perspectives and how we can all, have benefits from a standard like SiLA 2. Maybe for the ones who don't know Labforward yet, basically Labforward connects hardware, software, and teams. And as it states here on the slide, it's our mission to support laboratories on the quest to make groundbreaking discoveries. And by doing so, we're basically offering 3 products: the Labfolder ELN, which is for documentation purposes, the Lab Register, which is an inventory management system, so for sample tracking reasons and things like that. And that's also why the connectivity and the standardization of device integrations is so important for us, the Laboperator product, which is the former Cubus Lab. If some of you may have heard of this product from Karlsruhe, founded in 2015. And then actually we had a merger in 2019 between the Labfolder and the Cubus Lab. And since then we are Labforward. Yeah, as I said, the Laboperator product is the one that we are looking at when it comes to device integrations and standardization. Just one more slide before I jump into the actual presentation also about the Laboperator. So the Laboperator really is a laboratory execution system. So we are trying to connect both ends at our customers from the devices that are already in the lab, independent of the vendor, and also from the software landscape that is already within the laboratories. And we're trying to close the gap in between and having this device integration layer on the one side, the software integration layer on the other side, and in the middle, and that's then also the user interface. And what we're doing within the lab execution system is like a workflow layer where we can really build the processes on how device data is transferred to software systems and also the other way around. So device integrations via SiLA 2, just a few slides on the challenges that we are experiencing as an integrator that deals with several kinds of devices. Then, as I said, I want to have a quick view on the key players and how they can benefit from my opinion, from a standard like SiLA 2. And in the end, I also have like 2 success stories that I would like to share within the community here. So the biggest challenges in lab device connectivity, and that's also something that we heard in the beginning already from Andreas, is basically divided up in 2 things as we see it. On the one hand, the missing information. So whenever we want to integrate a new device, basically we start researching for the interface description. It's that's the biggest part, so to speak. So as soon as we have the interface description, there's also already a lot of the information available that we need. But we also, if we're thinking about connecting devices via USB or RS-232, we also need to know certain information about the required cable hardware. And we also need to know how the device needs to be configured to communicate via a digital interface with an integration platform like Laboperator. And then last but not least, of course, we also need to know the user requirements. So basically the depth on how deep we want to integrate a certain device. We also heard that earlier in a question asked whether we want to have a high level integration or a low level integration. And then on the other side, of course, the implementation, once we have all the information available and basically know what we want to do with a certain device, then also the implementation is very time consuming. Currently, we say roughly about 2 to 5 days of development for a new driver that we are integrating. Then, of course, we also have a lot of testing around it, and also the uploading of new drivers to a server can take a significant time, piece of time. For example, when we are dealing with on-premises installations, let's think about the regulated environment, for example. And yeah, of course, to overcome those challenges, I would say on the one hand, the missing information is also something that in the beginning was mentioned already. We need standardized information repositories like the UIKB, so the United Integration Knowledge Base. That's really a huge part that can solve a lot of problems already in the first place. But also we need, of course, standardized interface like SiLA 2 to really speed up the time of integrating devices. Now, when I'm in the daily business, basically as an integrator on the very left side, how can we profit from a standard like SiLA 2? Definitely the faster integration timelines. Because right now, to be honest, if all the information are already there, I already said that, then it may take 2 to 5 days to integrate a new device. But only because we have the driver available doesn't make the device completely integrated. So we also still have to then test the driver with the customer, and maybe even this process takes a couple more days or weeks until a device is then finally integrated and tested. And of course, if we have a standard within the industry, for us as an integrator, we definitely would profit from a very huge device portfolio, because right now we as an integrator are becoming more and more attractive to the customers the more devices we are offering within our portfolio. And if, of course, we are offering the SiLA standard as an integrator, then all the SiLA devices will be available also within our portfolios. Then, of course, we have the end users or the laboratories, so also our customers. Of course, also they profit from very much faster integration timelines. And last but not least, lower costs in the end. And I think that's always an important factor, of course. And it's, I think it's very important if we're thinking about timelines for digitalization projects. They are around, let's say, over the next couple of years, 2 to 5 to 10 years, but still we can also see the time is flying, and the integration is a huge part of the initial efforts that we need to do. And the faster we are there and the lower the costs for those integration, the better, and we can actually start on on creating value for within the digitalization. And then, as we also mentioned before, we have device manufacturers. And for them, of course, it's very interesting if they can, if they offer a SiLA standard and they can integrate, therefore, with additional systems around it, they can have this added value around their products. So if they keep to their standalone products and the products they are offering around their devices, they may not be as attractive to the laboratories as they are if they can integrate with other systems. And also the second point that we see here, they can focus on the core competencies. So I also think if device manufacturers try to really have this fully automated solution with all devices of other vendors integrated, they most likely will not be able to really focus on that, because their actual business, of course, is I think creating and developing the devices themselves. And basically, since I guess we are all familiar with the fact that a standard like SiLA 2 within the industry would help everyone on each end and enable really integrators, end users, and device manufacturers. But still, the question is there: how do we overcome basically this chicken egg problem, right? Also, Andreas in the very beginning asked, what did standardization ever do to us? And he mentioned the problem in the very beginning, that when they started at Roche and they thought about integrating SiLA, and they looked out in the industry and said, okay, there's only 2 devices. What does it help? It's really about overcoming this first barrier, right? And what I can see right now, I mean, we really have this momentum, I think, within the SiLA community. And who is most likely driving it? And that's really now, just from my experience, what we experience in our daily business is that the laboratories and the end users, so the pharmaceutical companies and things and companies like that, can really drive the SiLA, because they have the highest inherent need, I would say, because they can save a lot of time and lower the costs massively for integrating devices. And of course, they have the power, especially if you're thinking about big pharmaceutical companies, that they can influence the industry, the device manufacturers, the integrators, the software companies. So basically, I think the laboratories really, and the end users, they need to push for standardization in both directions towards the integrators, so that they provide the SiLA client and also the device manufacturer, that they become SiLA servers. So SiLA servers. And I think this is really something that I can really see in the last couple months, I would say. Whenever I'm in contact with customers, and it's happening like once a month at least, that I'm sitting together with a customer and a device manufacturer in a meeting, and we are discussing how we want to integrate devices in the future. And definitely, we as an integrator, of course, are pushing for SiLA too, but also lots of our customers are already doing this, because we can save just so massively time. On the other side, of course, as an integrator and a device manufacturer, also to push for it, and that's also what we heard from Saitina just a few minutes ago, it helps us if we, since the end users are now starting to think about an open platform approch, and having this mindset of not being or wanted to be locked into a certain vendor. They want to see us as integrators and us as device manufacturers, that we are signaling that we want to push for standardization as well. So it definitely makes sense also for us to signal that we want to have SiLA 2 implemented. At the end of my presentation, 2 or 3 little success stories. So also giving a little bit an outline of what we're doing currently at SiLA. So together with Roche specifically, we are currently leveraging SiLA 2 into 2021, and the overall goal is to become really plug and play connected to SiLA 2 devices within the next few months, let's say in Q3. So the approach is really fully leveraging the introspection of SiLA 2. We want to have the driver detects the features automatically. That's something that we are already doing, but we also want to have on our end the device type, which is a part of our software, that this will be generated automatically from the SiLA feature definition at runtime. And also we want to create dynamically a certain basic user interface to control the devices. So really thinking about having the lab operator, connecting it to a SiLA device, and everything is set up plug and play as we imagine it from a Windows machine, let's say, if we're connecting a keyboard. How the SiLA community can benefit from that, of course, we will have a reference implementation in Node.js. This is definitely active marketing for the SiLA 2 support, and potential development of future integrations as universal SiLA drivers instead of proprietary lab operator drivers is, of course, an interesting factor. And then again, if we're thinking about how Roche and the other end users benefits, of course, no more future integration projects for SiLA 2 devices, which is really a huge benefit. Specifically, someone like Roche, who is not only an end user in that sense, but only offers devices themselves and can also push it from those both ends. It's very interesting to push for SiLA 2, of course. And then last but not least, integrations for new devices as SiLA 2 drivers can be open sourced, of course. Two more success stories, and the one that Jason already mentioned, that we have now integrated the Tecan Spark. And now really I want to emphasize again how much time we can save when we are integrating via SiLA, which is the most important thing for us and also for most of our customers. So we had this Tecan Spark integrated into Laboperator a few years ago already with a proprietary interface using the Magellan software from Tecan. And I think that was really not so easy integration, so to speak. We had like integrated a piece of middleware that had to run on a Windows machine and then interface with the Magellan software to get to the Tecan device. It took at least 5 to 10 days back then. And now, since we have integrated the SiLA capabilities on our end and the Tecan device also offers the SiLA interface, it was really a matter of 2 hours for now. Same, and this is just another example that we just recently had with a small startup from Hamburg, Be Ahead. They are offering a cobot, and we just came together kind of randomly and wanted to do a little proof of concept. So they told us how their interface is working. It's a ROS based interface, something that we have never seen before, and someone from our end would have needed to work himself really deeply into this kind of ROS interface description. So we estimated that it would take like 3 to 5 days. And then the question pretty quick arose, do we really want to do this? Do we want to spend time on that? And also, who wants to pay for that? Like on our daily rate prices, that would have been an integration of 5,000 euros at least. And then, of course, we came up with the idea and told Be Ahead, hey, here is the SiLA 2 interface description, or how you can do it. And basically, they worked on that on their end, and then they came back to us and said, okay, now we're SiLA 2 ready. And it was literally 30 minutes on our end to integrate that device to Laboperator. And from that, I also have a 30 seconds small video sequence where we can basically see the Laboperator. We can see it's a cobot over here, and there's not much functionality implemented right now, but we can see that we have this start program button. It's really a high-level integration. So we're just telling the cobot what kind of method to execute. We send it, and we can see the cobot is working. And as soon as it's done, it's telling the Laboperator it was successful. Yeah, and I think that is really, really something that when we started back in the days 2015 and started integrating the first devices, and since then we are again and again experiencing how hard it can be to integrate devices. And now in the last couple months, really this SiLA 2 interface is having a momentum that really helps us to drastically reduce the integration times. And I'm really looking forward to have this other project over here integrated in the next couple months so that we can even faster integrate via SiLA 2. Thanks a lot, and I'm open for questions.